Hello everybody, welcome to a mod on a game that I hold near and dear to my heart. Mountain Blade Warband from a long while ago by Tail Worlds Entertainment. I started playing this game quite a while ago. I have a decent amount of hours. This is a mod that's been around since the original Mountain Blade that someone had ported to Warband. This mod's pretty old at this point. It still functions. The development on it has since ceased. There was a couple of attempts to revive it, but no such luck. But I'm just going to be doing a mod overview today, and I'm going to jump right in. I'll see you all in there. I had to reload it once as there was some graphical glitches going on when I went through the menus, but you start off by choosing your race, which you can choose Human, Twi'lek, Rhodian, Mon Calamari, Trandoshan, Droid, Wookiee, Celestin, Gamorrean, Bothan, Geonosian, Jawa, and Tusken. I'm just going to go with Human Male, as I'm just going to be showing off stuff anyway. Then you have your jobs. You start out with you can be an ambassador, a merchant, soldier, a smuggler, a bounty hunter, or a Force-sensitive warrior. The Force-sensitive warrior is the only one that I would consider the Path of Jedi-like, but there's not really any restrictions on who can use Jedi weapons except for via Force power tree or whatever on it. Generally, just as all these affect your stats, I'm just going to go with a soldier. And at the start, you can join one of 3 factions or remain independent. I generally remain independent until I've decided a faction I particularly want to join. And since we're going to be since we're just going to be doing overviews, I'm going to do each overview independently. I'm going to be doing all 3. So for the first one, we are going to start with the Rebel Alliance. Allow me to quit without saving, as this is not a playthrough. This is just an overview. Let's get some stats here. As you can see, we have our stats. The standard ones of Iron Flesh, Power Strike, and Power Throw all apply as normal. Power Throw isn't as... it only applies to when you're throwing sabers. Force Knowledge is what applies to everything else for Force powers. And I believe lightsabers. Going down the list, Weapon Master, Shield, Athletics, all the base game Mountain Blade stuff. However, there are some stuff that are changed from the original game. First, we get into navigation. Your travel on the map is no longer just your party, you are in a starship. You can purchase better starships to make yourself faster. Navigation will improve your party's speed regardless of your starship, but it's something to help over. Sensors is your sensor array, so it's your field of vision of enemies and other parties and planets before you get there. Cargo management is how much extra cargo you can carry on your ship. As you're not carrying it on your person, you're carrying it on your ship. So let's just invest in some Iron Flesh here to keep myself alive, some athletics, trainer, not that it really matters that much, but we'll just go down into rifles here. For the skill trees, we got one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, standard melee weapons, which is usually vibroblades, pole arms, which is for gaffy sticks and whatnot, force power for Jedi abilities, rifles for your standard blaster rifles, throwing for grenades and throwing force powers, and blaster pistols. Let's just randomize this a couple times. That'll work. So here we go. This is the galaxy here. It's pretty decent sized. Stuff in this tannish is Cartel, stuff in red is the Rebel Alliance, and stuff in blue is the Empire. These extra yellow ones are shipyards where you can go to buy ships, equipment, and sell prisoners. Alright, let's first take a look at our party here. For soldiers, we have these simple rebel recruits. They aren't very good because, you know, recruit, but they all have blasters, and most blasters are fairly efficient. So let's go down the troop trees here. This is another feature that is added in. Another feature that's added in by this mod is more interactions with your kingdom if you're independent. You recruit a new commander, which will let you get generals, because in base game they have to defect, but that doesn't really happen in this mod, so they just added it in so you can recruit. Managing territories, that's in the base game. You can change your faction's culture. That is mainly used besides the Rebel, Hut, and Empire thing. You can also change it to clone or droid to allow you to hire from other species and whatnot. You can also change your faction's name if you have an independent faction. Action. You can change your banner, change your race, retire from adventuring, which doesn't really apply here, but anyways, I don't believe there actually is a faction troop tree. No. I do in fact believe, yep, we've encountered some deserters. Combat's pretty simplistic. You can choose between fighting on your ship or on the ground. I usually fight on the ship whenever I think I have a pretty good chance of winning. I fight on the ground whenever I do believe I'm going to lose. It is genuinely what happens, albeit my troops are dying, so we'll see what happens. The blaster combat's pretty self-explanatory. You shoot using the same similar crossbow mechanics from base game Mountain Blade. Blaster pistols are only really decent up close, so you know this fight's going to take a hot minute because everybody here is using blaster pistols at medium-long range. They do have more troops than me, so I am not confident in actually winning this, but I am going to do my best. Ugh. The left there is taking pot shots at me. Due to this being the final release version of the mod, it does have some issues that are just never going to be fixed unless somebody makes it fork. A couple people have attempted to make forks, but to no avail. Usually they had to stop due to COVID coming around last year. So they had to quit. Nice, I actually won this and still had 3 people left over. Let's see here. Rebel Cadet helms, Rebel Cadet armor, black boots. Pretty simplistic. There are ammo, but it's just your ammo per battle, just like base game, so it doesn't really affect much. Each blaster cartridge will have specific ones, like this one's usable in a pistol, as it says on the bottom there, and gives +1 damage, and does bonus damage against shields. There are plasma shields like the Gungans had in episode 1. They're not that great. As you see here for Rebel Recruit, we can now upgrade those to Rebel Cadets, which are the things we were just fighting, so you know, not too strong. Going to Yavin here, let's just get rid of all this stuff. Here we have an A280 for this. The firing position thing, I believe, is whether you crouch or not upon firing. It's been a little while since I've full tested this, but you can see over here, we got our lightsabers that require pretty high strength. You can use them as a non-Jedi. I recommend if you're going to play with a lightsaber, just fully committing to the Jedi path, but you know, it's do what you want. Here's those shields I was talking about. They have pretty good health, pretty good speed rating, but everybody's blaster gets a bonus against it, so it'll go down pretty quick if you get focus fired. We got some bowcasters, vibro swords, throwing axes for the Gamorreans, sonic pistols, lightsaber pikes, electro staffs, and all sorts of interesting blasters, including even Trandoshan or ray guns. If we go down the armor, this is where things get interesting. All of these seem to be mainly custom modeled. There's a couple like this padded cloth that's from base game, but the rest of this is basically all custom modeled. Some give you bonuses, such as eyepiece that gives you +1 tactics. Others just give you a lot of armor, such as the Black Sun armor here, or the Mandalorian soldier armor. For transportation, instead of horses, we got speeder bikes. Work basically identically, just they aren't alive. But even when it comes down to stuff such as trading, everything's been renamed. Even though this is originally just salted beef in base game, it's nerf beef in this. Honey is still honey, but there's also Corellian ale, grease spice, vegetables, Durasteel bars, bantha butter, lasha, silk, basalt, sea salt, Ewok furs, and Bacta injectors. Bacta injectors are something you want to get once you got to about your mid game, where you're getting a decent amount of credits incoming, because you can just press H during a battle to heal. Which, as you know, if you've played Warband, is kind of really good. Going further down the line, we're getting followed by some blazing claw pirates. I don't think I could beat those if we fight them head on. Castles are replaced with these battle stations and outposts. Moons are the small villages. Let's get some more rebel recruits hitting this planet. Each faction has its main trees and secondary trees while it's going down your troop trees. Let's get some more troops from Findar. For these planets, if you own one, I do not, but if you own one, you're able to build cloning facilities and droid facilities to produce unique troop types for you, such as clones and droids. As you saw there, ship types do differ. I am currently in an A-wing. That Imperial was in a heavy dreadnought cruiser. You change those by going to the shipyards. Let's try to get to the Mandalorian shipyard and hopefully not get caught by the Empire, because I only have 11 guys. Alright, you have 3 options in here. You can go to the shipyard, where you can buy ships. Interceptor 4, fighters, Lucre Hulks, Lancers. The ship types have their stats down here. It's for speed, drive, which I believe boosts their speed further. I'm not entirely sure on how the drive system works, or whether there's like actual hyperdrives. I'm unsure. But you go down, you get scanners, which gives you more range of scanning. Combat computers, which gives you tactics in combat. Troop capacity, so how many troops you can hold. Medical bay, which determines how fast your troops will heal. Prisoner capacity, how many prisoners you can hold. Trade computer, which is whether you get a trade penalty or not. And cargo capacity. For me, I have no money, so I wouldn't be able to afford it, but if you want to go fast, I recommend a fighter. If you want to go big, you get bigger ships. Now this is a bug here that has been a common bug for a while. It looks like an acclimator. It's a Z95. It's a fighter, no different than this. It's just the model bugged out. It's using the model of the acclimator, which is a cargo / troop transport, but you also got other ships, such as Hut Mark IIs, which are just upgraded dreadnought heavy cruisers, I believe. I don't remember what this one is, but I believe it also might be based off the dreadnought. This one's off the R41. Yep, Star Chasers. Okay, and then next you can go to the banks and apply for loans and whatnot to better inject currency into your playthrough. I don't personally use them, but that's because I don't like using in-game banks, because then it makes me worried I'm not going to be able to pay it back. Going to the merchants brings us into the physical station. Here we have the slave trader, who you sell the prisoners to. I believe he works like the tier slave trader in base game, where he'll just buy them all for a set amount, I believe. He's a good way to make money especially if you're independent. If you're on the Rebels team, you can still use him, but you get a decent amount of money just from drop loot, while the bandits don't give you as much. Here we have the Clone Wars era merchant. He sells all the clone trooper armor from the Mark 1s, including the heads. For the heads, you get a item from one of the merchants. I believe one of the merchants here even sells one where you can make your head invisible, or in this case, we just straight up replace it. They have their weapons. Their weapons are pretty decent. It's better than most of the other stuff. It's just kind of expensive. Their armor is alright. Not the best, but pretty good as well. There's lots of different color variations. It all looks very nice. Moving down the line here, we have the Force-sensitive Trainer and Merchant, which are for people who are playing Jedi. Going further down the line, we have Plastic Surgeons, which allows you to change your face to any of the other models. You can even change your head to look like Grand Moff Tarkin. It's not really useful, and it's pretty expensive, but it does give you some armor for your head by just having a head on, so you know. Which can, then over here we have a Legal Weapons Merchant. What she sells is all very expensive, but very good. The grenades she all has do a lot of damage when they hit, but it uses them up. Disruptor ammo, very expensive, lots of damage. Concussion rifle. This thing is blatantly overpowered. It's basically just a machine gun that you just blow squads down, but it doesn't actually kill anybody. So it's a great way to get prisoners after you afford it. But its accuracy, despite it saying 99, that is not correct. Then there's also the flame rifle. I think it's bugged and doesn't actually function. Or if it does function, it doesn't function very well. Moving to the last merchant here is the droid parts merchant. This person will sell you all the droid parts. These white bubbles here are how to turn your head invisible for when you're equipping droid parts. We have a different couple of battle droids in here from Clone Wars era, along with other droids. Some of the droids give you bonuses, other ones do not. Such as these power droids, they refill ammo of nearby team when equipped. Medical droid, you refill the health. And then some of the other battle droids, they just give you a load of armor. Like the best example is the B3 unit here, the CB3. 30 head armor, 70 body armor, 30 leg armor. Pretty good. Most of the armors for these guys works well. The battle droid one works alright. The only major thing you'd run into is when it comes to the droid blasters when you find them on the market. The E5s, their sound is completely busted, so they make no noise when they fire, which is kind of lame. I'm just going to quickly change out the blaster pistol for the blaster rifle here, as I prefer rifle, but that is the gist of how the stuff like that goes. Like here we can, I believe this guy is. Which are you part of the Imperial faction? I believe he's a part of the Imperial faction. I don't want to accidentally attack a merchant that's related to the Hutt faction and end up starting a war, but I believe since these guys are blue, they are the Empire faction, but it doesn't seem like it can attack those ones. You normally are able to attack them fine. It's a matter of what happens here. Here we have some Jawas getting blasted by an Imperial and a Star Destroyer. Like I said before, that's mainly just cosmetic, but well, it's cosmetic, but it gives them certain buffs to speed and whatnot. It seems the Hutt cartel just went in on the Empire. They can declare war on each other, but the Hutts are the only ones who can ever make peace, I believe. At least when it comes to the Empire and the Rebels, they can't ever make peace with any faction. Like the Rebels and the Empire can never come to a truce, which is hard-coded in to make sure that the game doesn't go static. The Stormtroopers all have lots of variety, like Shadow Scouts, Incinerators, just the standard Imperial Scouts, there's Wookiee Hunters, there's Blast Armor, there's a lot of stuff, armor-wise, that'll let you kind of customize however you'd like. But yeah, going over the general gist, I can show off for the last bit here, I can show off the different troop trees. Here we have the split. You got your Rebel Scout, which will be your snipers, and your Fleet Troopers, which will be your standard infantry. As you can see, they even split off even further, so let me just get some cadets upgraded here. and then split them into 4 for each. For the Rebel Scout here, we've got Commandos and Marksmen. Commandos, I believe, get yourself pretty decent stats. I believe they get rifles and don't suffer any speed penalties. They're good. They get a lot of athletics. They're able to rush in, I believe. Marksmen, still just snipers. They're pretty effective. The sniper accuracy is good. It's just that their mag size is low and their fire rate's really low. So if the enemy's swarming you a lot, they won't help you much. For these guys, they go into standard heavy infantry and pilots. Pilots are your cavalry. They are on speederback. Speederback. That's such a weird saying. They use speeders. They're basically speeder cav. They only upgrade into more speeder cav, but when you're on your own ship, you can't really take advantage of them. For the vanguards, they get one more split here of heavy trooper and honor guard. The heavy trooper has more armor. The honor guard gets a better blaster, I believe is how that one works. All are pretty effective against most targets, though generally you're just going to want to have numbers when it comes to this, because blasters are blasters. It doesn't matter what. It does not matter which who has the better blaster when the enemy has a lot of numbers. There are some blasters that are worse than others, such as the Jawa blasters. Whack. Just pissed off the Empire. I believe you were supposed to originally, you would just auto-join the faction. However, and you saw in that case, I believe it's bugged, where you're not a part of the faction despite choosing the faction at the start, but personally I recommend starting out independent, because then you can really figure out who's winning or losing the Galactic Civil War, or go independent just to make your own empire in the galaxy. If you make your own empire, I believe you're able to make peace just fine. It's just the two factions will hate you. The Hutts, it seems to vary. Sometimes they'll just completely ignore you, other times they'll be the first one to come and try to kill you. There's some deserters there. Let's fight those with our honor guard to just show off the strength of these guys. Come here. Here's some Nova Troopers, which is heavy infantry for the Empire. These later game fights generally go much faster because everybody's getting much better blasters. Not every blaster is like you see right now, how it's just it's just fire road. Some of these blasters are able to fire automatic. In this case, I believe it switches between, for this A280, it switches between blunt and piercing. But for some other blasters, it'll swap to a full auto stance, which is very low accuracy, but you can shred enemies at close ranges. As you can see here, he gets a T-21, which for most Star Wars canon is very strong. He gets a 280. He keeps moving, so it's hard to tell. But, as you saw there, very effective. The Nova Troopers get Stormtrooper rifles and DLT-20s along with E-11s. All have their unique sound effects. All are pretty well modeled for the time. Most infantry will suck in melee combat. That's just how it is in this. But let's be honest, it's Star Wars. You're wanting a blaster. So let's just go in here real quick. Get rid of all this. Yeah, I know I'm doing a show off here, not really trying to actually make credits, but I just wanted to, it's habit. There are some unique ones, like the Mandalorian Deadeye is basically just Boba Fett's armor. There's Royal Guard armor. There's Jedi armor, Crime Lord armor, Borg Construct AJ6s, which gives you +2 to Engineer. There's the Black Sun. There's a lot of good stuff, and then there's some stuff that isn't modeled very well, like these ragged caps. It's just a baseball cap. but a lot of it is pretty high quality. Like if I just pop on an Imperial Trooper helm here, it's pretty high quality from being modeled from scratch, or a Trooper helmet. The only issues I've had with this mod has been some minor crashing when it comes to, once you get about 2 hours in, then you start to crash more frequently. I'm unsure of what causes it. The mod developers aren't working on it anymore, so you kind of just have to roll with it. Personally, it seems to vary for how long before it actually crashes or not. But other than that, this mod I highly recommend it to anybody, and that will be the end of this video, I do believe. For the Rebel faction here, I showed off all their troop trees. I'll be going over the rest of the troop trees just with a lot less clutter about how mechanics work and whatnot. I'll be going over troop trees for the Empire, the Hutt Cartel, but then I'll also be going over the troop trees for the clones and the droids. So expect those in future, and have a good day.